And if I'm not mistaken, now we are live. So, hello and welcome to episode 28 of the talk. Start again, shall I? Hello and welcome to 20. Fuck, I can't go. I've been around. I've only been speaking to Kurt. It's like I'm already drunk. So I'll try again. Hello and welcome to episode 28 of the weekly podcast by MobileTechTalk called Talkin Tech. Today you're joined by me again and Mark, funnily enough, again.
Hello.
So you kind of got the comedy duo back. Dom was, in fact, at the Honor event somewhere in London. He went because he was closer.
Well, yes, he's the most quite considerably closest to London of all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think Mark's an option to go, really. Capital to capital. No, so it's called, today's episode is called Phones with More Than 4 Gigabytes of RAM, ... really. As many of you know, the OnePlus One is out. Craig's got one. Juha, I think it's how you say it. Shoot me if I'm wrong. Or Yuha, I'm not quite sure. He was the first.
To be honest, I think the ones that haven't is me, you, and Dom.
Yeah, basically me, Mark, Dom, and anyone else that's. Kurt got one as well. That they kind of, I think they have money burning holes in their back pockets. I know I've certainly not. So they're going to be doing a piece on it, but that might not be sometime. I know Craig's been taking photos, sticking them on Instagram, and he's been doing some video as well. So they should look forward to that, is what I'm going to say. So, getting the elephant out of the room, as I think the saying is, I can't remember the exact date, but after we podcast, was it either a day, it might have been that day or the following day, whatever day it was Apple's WWDC, which is basically their big developer conference that all the developers go to, and everyone at home sits there on the laptops watching it, listening to whoever it is at the time taking too long to talk about something. As Mark would say, there was no new hardware, there was no new iPhones, no new Macs or MacBooks, or software, funnily enough. So there was iOS 10, watchOS 3, I've mistyped that in there, macOS, which is Sierra, I think it's called, and tvOS. So the 4 biggest bits of Apple. Not going to go through them all because me and Mark aren't Apple.
Yeah, neither of us, frankly, give a shit what Apple do, and it's like, meh.
Well, yeah. So we'll just bash through them. So iOS 10 brought a couple of features. Raise to wake. So when you raise your iPhone or iPad, it'll wake. This is the big one. Siri is now open to developers. So developers, I think it might be certain developers, but developers can use Siri. And the home automation app, which is what you use for your HomeKit enabled devices, does actually look kind of nice. If you don't know what HomeKit is, it's all your smart home things. You just connect, and it's done through each device has a unique number. You go in the app, you put it in. The app did look a bit pants, but they're rolling out a new version, and I think it was a light bulb I saw. You just tap the light bulb, and it gives you a little dimmer. And you can see it real time. It's simple, but works. Don't know if there's anything you want to say on any of that.
No, not really.
I didn't think so. WatchOS 3. That's no new Apple Watches is what I was also meant to say when I said no new hardware. If anyone was familiar with that activity app, the three little lines that make a donut. Yep, you can now share that with your friends, so you can see who's doing the best and who's the fittest. Control center, feature that's been on iOS since iOS 7, where you swipe up from the bottom and gives you like a little control center. I want to say 7. It was certainly in 9. I think it was in 8. Yeah, there's now a thing for the watch. Nice, I suppose. And this is one that kind of I don't see anybody using. But you can now draw the letters out on screen to make up a response, so you don't have to dictate to the watch. I could see some advantage to that, but minors. Any comment, Mark?
No, not really.
Okay, so macOS. So it's now not known as OS X or OS whatever. It is now macOS, and the new name is Sierra, I think is how you pronounce it. So the three biggish ones now has Siri on it. And if you want to know how it works, as how I use the words of CNET, if you want to know how it works, look at Cortana on Windows, because it basically does the same stuff. You can also...
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think the most surprising thing about this was like it wasn't there already.
Yeah, I think that was the thing.
And I was like, what? It's not on there.
Yeah, so it's there now. I should mention all of this is developer. It's in the developer version, not the beta version. I think there's a beta coming out in July, August time,
although
and everything
if it's
hits
anything
in the
like
fall.
they're all developers, I mean, it's pretty much anyone can get it.
Anyone
you
can
just
do it
have to. You just have to kind of go out of your way and get it, and it's free, and there's no big deal.
Yeah.
Well, certainly
But it's not stable.
No, that's the big thing. It's their official thing. This is for developers. If this destroys everything, and I've never ever had a developer preview that actually did any damage or screwed up in any significant way for any OS, not just Apple's. But it's their get out clause. Do not use this if this is your computer you use for work, because if it all goes tits up, hey, it's not our fault.
Yeah, but so you can do it. I think Kurt's and who else? Kurt. Who's the other iPhone user? I can't remember now. But Kurt was certainly playing around a bit, and I've been speaking to people in different Slack groups. They've been messing around with it. They've been rolling back and forward as each update comes out. So it's not difficult to do by any stretch of the imagination, but it's just there a caution. What else is so? Yes, you can now unlock your Mac with your Apple Watch. Proximity basically is all it is. I don't think it took them too long to work out.
Yeah, this is seriously, this hasn't been available.
Seriously, I would have expected this earlier, but no, it's.
I mean, I can't remember when it was. There was an app I used years ago, and I mean like many years ago, that basically did that. You paired your computer to your phone, and whenever your computer detected that your phone was in range, it would unlock itself. And whenever you got up and wandered away and became out of range, the Windows would
lock itself.
Yeah, would lock the user. And I was like, really? Like, was this not available? Was this?
No, this was not available. I don't know if it works when you leave. I've not seen. I didn't take too much time reading into this. All I did was watch random videos on YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, so far,
who wants to sit and watch an hour, nearly 2 hours worth of developer conference?
Oh God, no! You'd kill yourself. But yeah, the biggest takeaway from these is they didn't have these things already.
Yes, and the last one on macOS is you can now copy and paste between different devices, which I can't see a sole purpose for. So you can you can press Control or Command C on your Mac and go over to your iPhone or iPad and just paste, and it'll paste what was on the Mac. I can see people getting confused with that and getting
Yeah, I can see
frustrated.
this causing a ton of problems because how many people will have their computer as logged in as their same, as the
Same
same as
Apple
they are on
account.
their phone, but somebody, the wife, the partner, the whoever, the kids, is sitting using the computer.
Copies to because you go, yeah,
Yeah,
that's good. I don't know the logistics, but by the sounds, it's going to be more hassle than it's going to be worth.
yeah. I'm not seeing why this is useful. I'm seeing downsides, but I'm not seeing any great, like, copy and paste from your phone to your computer. Like, why?
Yeah, if you stop being lazy, and if you need it writing on the computer, take your phone, unlock your phone, just present the information you want to see in front of you, and copy it down.
Yeah, just no.
Not difficult, but no, that's now a thing. And finally, tvOS, which is the clues in the name, really. It now has a dark or light theme. So it's traditionally it's always been a white background. Now you can have a black background. The Apple TV remote has an app on, I think it's the iPhone. There might be one for the iPad. I'm not sure. Which simply mimics the hardware remote on your iPhone. And if you have, the last one is, if you have an app, this is going to on your iPhone and it has a tvOS version, it will pull it down automatically. And as you, let's say you buy an app on your phone and it's got a tvOS version, you'll pay for it on your phone, it'll download it on your phone, and then the TV will essentially download it as well. If it's supported though.
Yeah, again, this seems. I'm not sure how exactly why you would want that, because I have shit tons of apps on my phone that I'm not gonna want on the TV. I just.
Yeah, I know. There's probably going to be a way you download them and then you just uninstall them, but that's kind of like earache. Because I do know some people that have like family and they have multiple. There's one family I know, one mate of mine. He lives with his mum, his dad, and his sister. So there's four of them. Each own an iPhone and each own an iPad, all signed into the same account. So when one downloads something, it appears everywhere.
Yeah.
So I know there was an option in settings to turn that off. I don't know if there's going to be one in the tvOS. We'll have to wait and see. And that's it for the official stuff. Well, the news of that event, should I say? Now, one of the things that was mentioned and was talked about before the actual event was iMessage coming to Android. People thought it was going to happen. Most people were in the mindset, well, your everyday user was in the mindset it was going to happen, but really we all knew it wasn't going to happen. And
Well,
it didn't happen.
I don't know. I mean, the more I find was who wanted it to happen. I mean, like, who cares? I don't know. I suspect this is probably a bigger deal in America, where there is a higher proportion of people using iOS devices. So it might be.
I think it's
more
poorer countries.
desirable.
I think it's poorer countries. China, for I know they have some ban on Google, so they use some knocked off versions, which is essentially Google, just knockoff versions, and the iOS feature. Because when I was taking my GCSEs last year, we had a boarding school which was full of international students, mainly from China, and there's a couple from just outside, just in Europe, but it was mostly China. And a lot of them were using iPhones at the time, just because when they went home for the holidays, they would still get all of their services working compared to the ones that would use an Android
Right,
phone.
but I mean, who was sitting there with an Android phone wanting to be able to use iMessage? I mean, who was doing that?
There was not many, because most people had come to accept the fact that it wasn't going to happen. they
Well, yeah,
knew it
this
was
is what I'm
never going
saying.
to
Like,
happen.
who in the world was sitting there wanting iMessage to come to Android? I don't see anyone giving a crap. I mean,
There was people giving a crap, clearly, but no, I can't think of anyone around me. Well, there's one. He's someone I know. He's flipped between iPhones and Android for the past 2 years, and he had one of each at one point. He just didn't put his SIM in his Android phone because he was having people on iMessage, and he wanted to communicate with them on iMessage. Though eventually, they did just all give up and surrendered to WhatsApp, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, or they could have just gone back to using actual fucking text messages.
Oh, yeah, they could have.
Yeah,
But
I
no,
mean,
that's how they ended up. There was a comment from Apple along the lines of, what was it? It was, we're not doing. Okay, yes, we could use it. We could do it to increase. What was it? What's the big word that Google used? Machine learning. We could use Android and iOS and have a big machine learning algorithm as such. But at the same time, we don't want to hand iMessage over to Android because that is a distinctive feature that keeps people coming back to the iPhones. And Apple products is iMessage. They didn't want to surrender that, which I'm not really surprised at. But that is the Apple news. Done and dusted. It only took us 20 minutes-ish.
yeah. Well, neither of us really give a shit about it.
I was hoping Kurt would be here this week. I was really hoping for it. I thought, oh, load of Apple news. I know Kurt has an iPhone. I know he has a MacBook Air. And I'm sure he brought himself the Apple TV. And I was like, yes, it'd be perfect to keep us going for a bit. And he kind of got a little bit drunk. Quick and easy. So earlier on, we mentioned the OnePlus 3, the latest in the lineup from OnePlus. Like we said, most people, minus me, Mark, and Dom, and Jeffrey, and there was someone else. I can't remember who we've got to start anymore, but there was a couple of us. There's about 50% have brought it, 50% haven't. So of course it was released, and I'm not going to bore you with the specs. I think you've heard it 100 times over. I'm just going to pull out the key bit here, and is the fact it has 6 gigabytes of RAM. 6 gigabytes of RAM. I'll let that sink in. And I can't work out why the heck in hell a phone needs 6 gigabytes of RAM. I don't even think the iPad Pro, any of the two, have 6 gigabytes of RAM.
Because Android's app management, memory management is shit. That's why.
Yeah, people were saying they were people, probably being the in-depth techies that dive into every little nook and cranny, were saying that it wasn't utilizing the 6 gigabytes of RAM properly.
Yeah, I've seen stories like that, and I've seen on XDA some supposed fix for it, which I'm sure if it's not utilizing the all 6 gigs, OnePlus will have some.
There'll be a software patch for that, I imagine.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big takeaway here is 6 gig of RAM. That's kind of taking a jump. I mean, we for a long time devices sat on 2. Then 3 started happening, and only recently have things started going to 4. And OnePlus have said, screw that, and jumped to 6.
I know it was MKBHD. I can't say his full name. Marcus Brownlee, I think it is. I probably butchered that as well. He did his review, and he said he was only using about 4 gigabytes at max. But if you thought that was a high amount of RAM, Echo are rumored to have their new phone to be 8 gigabytes of RAM.
Which I say awesome, because for all the things that phone manufacturers are going to play silly buggers with numbers, I'd much rather it was to have massive amounts of RAM, because that's actually something useful, rather than have, you know, increasing numbers of pixels on the screen that just do nothing but destroy battery life.
Yep.
So I'm absolutely perfectly fine with this 6 gigs of RAM, 8 gigs of RAM. Yep, good.
I'm not going to lie, if this does come out of 8 gigs of RAM, that's going to be more RAM than my laptop. Because I'm only, I think this thing has 4 gigs of RAM in it.
Yeah, but I mean, it's
what the heck ever is 8 gigs of RAM for?
It's Android. I mean, I've had this issue before with it. What Android seems to do is it acts like Windows 95, if anyone remembers that, with all the helpful little quick launch things to, you know, oh, well, just in case you might want to use this app, we'll just actually launch it for you already and just kind of have it slightly running in the background, just so that it, you know, it shaves 2 seconds off when you actually want to launch it. And that just eats RAM. And it will boot things out that you actually bloody want running.
Yep. So yeah, that's obviously where the title came from. It's almost, I think that post was put live on Pocket Now, which is where I got it from, about a day after the OnePlus 3 was announced. So what's next? What are we going to get next? 16 gigabytes of RAM?
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, that might take a little while for them to jump to that. But yeah, you know, I'm sorry, but 6 or 8 gigs of RAM, well, it's
something new.
It's Android's fault.
It's kind of interesting to see that obviously it's now something else for them to play with. They've played with screens. They've half played with batteries. They've played with CPUs and GPUs. And now we're playing with RAM. So that should be something to keep an eye on. If it does come out with 8 gigabytes of RAM, be interesting to see how many people max the 8 gigs of RAM out.
Well, probably no one, but that's kind of like the point, isn't it? You don't want to be maxing it out. You want enough RAM that you can use wherever, whenever you feel like, and it just automatically, it's always snappy. It's not having to, you know, shunt things backwards and forwards off the storage. You know, it's just there.
Yep. So that's another thing to keep an eye on. And might as well move on. Most of these topics don't really have too much to say on, like most things in the news, unless it's politics, and then somebody always has something to say about that. So I'm probably going to butcher this. Monohome, MONOHM. If someone can say that, or like drop like a little video response thing.
I would go with Monome.
Monome, yeah. The Monhome Runcible is finally available for pre-order and has been for about 5 days now. If anyone wasn't around, if anyone can't remember the Monhome Runcible, it was and is a circular Android phone, basically. So it's got a nice round display with a varied finished backs and a camera right in the middle, and is basically a phone. It was announced a couple of years ago. As far as specs goes, it's a Snapdragon 410. I can't see because I'm getting glare on my screen. With 64-bit with a 1.2 gigahertz. Comes in at 1.2 gigahertz. 1 gigabyte of RAM.
Yeah, I mean, this is not like a high spec.
No, it is when you think about it, it's a few years old. So 1 gigabyte of RAM, 8 gigs of memory, Wi-Fi, BG, and then on 2.4 gigahertz single band, at Bluetooth 4.1, and hopefully 4G LTE. It's a 2.5-inch 640 by 640 display, which is fully round.
Yeah, which
Rear,
it's so this is going to be a small device. I mean, this is kind of like
God, it's going to be
you
like
know, your phone shagged a Moto 360, and this is what the result. And unfortunately, it's basically got about the same specs as the Moto 360.
yeah. I'm just looking through.
Which is, I think, if this is maybe launched when it first went to
was first announced.
so Indiegogo it was on, yeah.
Yeah, it's on Indiegogo.
I think if it maybe launched like the right then, its specs wouldn't have been too bad. It would have been usable. I mean, it's still going to be usable, I think, as a device, but yeah. The current sort of two options, depending on the back that you want, whether you want plastic or wood, and it does look nice.
It does
but,
look very nice.
You know, $400 or $500 for this is like
plus shipping.
Just no. Although I'll tell you what it actually does kind of remind me of, because in part of the blurb about it, they say they're trying to create a sort of new type of device. It's not really a phone. It's not really a wearable. It's kind of something in between.
A pocket watch.
What it reminds me of, and I can't remember the name, but does anyone remember Buck Rogers in the 25th century? And there was the little silver robot, and it ran around, and it had some smart computer round thing round its neck, hanging sort of in its chest. Does anyone take it? You, Chris, you won't know what the hell I'm talking about, do you?
I was just about to say, what have you been smoking?
I'll see if we can find a picture. But if anyone remembers, that's what it reminds me of.
I will point out as well that before they take the money on it and start putting this thing into production, they've got a $250,000 goal. They've got 11 days left, and they are currently at $109,963, which was raised by 272 backers. So will it? I don't know if it's going to get made. I think it was going up for about 2 to 3 weeks, so it may get made. It only needs to double that in a bit, and it should be there. But as I said, it's a fixed goal, and according to Indiegogo, it does state this campaign will only receive funds if at least its goal is met by its deadline. It's basically going to, I see a lot of people trying to put Android Wear on this in some way, shape or form, and have like an Android Wear pocket watch. But it does look nice. And it is based off of, its OS is Bunny, or Buni, Buni OS, which is based off of Android 5.1. And the Vodafone Smart First 7. Oh, I hate the way Vodafone name phones. It's like, okay, it's the Smart, insert name, insert generation. It gets confusing. That had 512 megabytes of RAM, and that actually worked well. So this may work. Are you still looking for that little robot bling thing?
Kind of. I myself completely distracted. I found the silver robot was called Twiki, and I can't seem to find what the round robot was called. Although, from memory serves, it was Doctor something, I'm sure.
Of course, it's Doctor something. You expect?
If you've ever seen the show, I sent you a link. You'll see the photo. If you have a look in Slack, you'll see the round thing he's got wearing around his neck. That's all. That's what it makes me think of.
Yes, you've been smoking something, I'm sure. But no, I'll put a link to this picture in the description, and I don't know what I'm going to call it. Probably the thing Mark was talking about whilst he was high as hell.
Yeah, I'm not at all. I think I slightly got a bit of a cold or something. My nose isn't
Yeah, so
entirely
I see what you
natural,
mean. It's kind of cool. So Mark's going to find out. Mark's going to do some digging, because if anybody knows Mark, well, you probably don't. But if anyone has or does know Mark, you'll know he likes to dig. If he gets something on his mind, he's what's the word I'm looking for? He's like a dog chasing a bone. If that is okay to use. So I know Craig's pre-ordered one of these as well. I think he was one of the first backers. I think he saw the post and went, "Take my money." But let's see when they come out. So Remix OS, do you remember that at all, Mark?
Sorry?
Remix OS. Does that sound familiar?
It does. It does.
It does. That's okay. So if anyone doesn't remember, Remix OS is the operating system fresh out of China, which aim was to make computing for anyone, anywhere. And the way it was doing this was using a form of Android x86. Was it? Yes, Android x86. Making a basic skin over it and making it bootable drive. Any old thumb drive, I think it had something like 16 gigabytes free. And the plan was to have this drive, give it to kids in developing countries so they could use it. And there was talks and the way people getting the ideas of having just a computer, teach them how to boot into it, and then they would have basically their own computer, but it obviously was on a memory stick. And there were some suggestions of a couple of podcasts and other sites were onto this, and they were saying you could set up like a old school internet cafe in its simplest form, and have a load of possibly restricted down computers, and just have people boot to it. But if you were to log in via your Google account, the idea then again here was to have everything all in one place. And it's not some half-assed thing that you probably get the image of. It's got a Windows experience, as in you can open an app, have it full screen, part screen. They showed it off at CES, and one of the favors for them to demo was Clash of Clans. And it came out on this little box called the Remix Mini, and it was only 70 quid. And they brought out a tablet type thing. And they've now brought out a 2-in-1 called the Remix Pro, which it does prove that they're in this for the long haul. But
well, I don't know. It proves somebody gave them a wad of money. I don't think
they were paired with Qualcomm at one point. They had some partnership with Qualcomm, so I think that's where most of their funds was coming from.
Yeah, perhaps. I mean, essentially, what this 2-in-1 tablet, I kind of think
it's copying the Surface, is what I will say. Straight up, you'll notice it does seem very, very similar to the Surface, with a little kickstand. And they have made it so you can install Remix OS onto a hard drive. So you're not sideloading, that's probably not the word. You're not running off a USB. And they were recommending to use USB 3, obviously, for the higher speeds. And they made the Remix Pro, which is a little 12, I think it's a 12-inch. 12-inch 1080p display with a Snapdragon 652, 3 gigabytes of RAM, 32 gig internal storage with micro SD card support. But there's no, in this one from The Verge or Circuit Breaker, which is their new blog site, tech site, whatever you want to call it, site. I thought The Verge was that type of site anyway. There's no word of it, but a 9,000 milliamp hour battery, weighs about 640 grams, which is half the weight of the MacBook Air. Front and rear facing camera, 5 and 8 respectively. And it kind of seems like a good idea. I can't find pricing anywhere.
Yeah, which is a bit of an issue. I mean, I kind of think this is a really nice concept. But I can't help feeling Google is going to kill it at some point. Google is going to come after them and destroy them.
That was the thing. There was a lot of, when Google announced Android apps for Chromebooks, which is something we'll get onto in a minute. There was quite a few people asking, well, if Google allows Android apps on Chromebooks, where does this leave Remix? Obviously, because it is basically running Android apps on a desktop UI. And the wording was, nothing's happening really. But something's going to happen. And I think they've brought themselves away from their original concept, that they've kind of overbaked it. To me, what Remix was a operating system that could be ran off a USB 3 stick, which realistically is not going to cost very much. A couple of $25 max. I mean, that's probably even still being a bit steep.
Yeah, I mean, I think this has an awful lot of theoretical potential, but I think what I would like to see happen is I would like to see Google come in and buy this and then start pumping these out. Because essentially, Android is capable enough of running, a small kind of, portable laptop. It's not going to be, a big, powerful beast that you're going to be, running Photoshop or whatever on. But, it would be enough for most people. And, you've got your browser, you've got the Android Microsoft Office suite available. This would be good enough in a light, small, powerful enough machine.
So like the NC10 that I've got that runs Linux, that could, I can't see why that wouldn't be able to run Android.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, that sort of nice little kind of low power but powerful enough machine. But this, I just see that Google is going to come.
They're going to piss on their parade.
Stamp on them.
Piss on their parade, as I like to say.
Yeah. I mean, I think Google is just it kind of doesn't seem to know what they're doing with Chrome OS and Android. There's lots of people, myself included, think a Chromebook, that would be great, and I understand why Chrome as an operating system that does not store anything on itself. I think it's a perfect operating system for the likes of government, civil servants, councils, hospitals, so that when somebody loses the machine, they've lost only the machine. They've lost no data whatsoever. I get that that's important, but as a consumer, I don't give a shit. I want to cart my crap around with me. I would like a Chromebook that came with Android, which is basically what this is.
Yep, and I've been meaning to try it out. I just haven't had a USB 3 drive. Well, only 2 hard drives, and I'm kind of using one to back up the other one. So I might take the plunge format off the spare one and give it a shot, and then just read back onto it. From their original concept, I think that, like I said, they're overbaking it, they're overstretching. They should have gone in with like the likes of SanDisk or Kingston or you could even do it on hard drives like WD, and they should have made the thumb drives with the operating system preset, installed, and just allowed for what they wanted to do, which was boot into it, use it, take it out. So if you were good, but that's what they should have done. To me, they're overcomplicating it, and I think Google working on Android apps and the Chromebooks may bite them in the backside. It might not. I just know they work with Google quite closely on it, and it's probably going to get pissed on. But talking of Google and Android apps, we have had our first proper look at Android apps on a Chromebook. And the link to Droid Life shows it on the Asus Chromebook Flip, which does have a really quirky design. It only has about 2 gigabytes of RAM and 16 gigabytes of storage, and a Rockchip 3288-C. So it's a mobile processor. And there's a video on there, and it's not buttery smooth. And I will mention you've got to be in developer mode. I think you've got to be in the developer mode, not the. I think there's beta, developer, beta, or stable, and what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of the word I'm looking for. Or word that'll fit it, like the consumer version. To do this, it is quite simple. You've just got to go into settings and toggle between. It just does when you toggle, it just uses the partition that it has, and it just re-downloads the correct version, power off your device, turn it back on, and it'll obviously install it. This is the way Chrome does it. It's only available on three Chromebooks. It's the Asus Flip, something from Acer, and the Pixel, which was the $1,000 one.
Yeah.
Not the C, the $1,000 one from, I think it was 2014. But it's coming.
Yeah, nobody, apart from people who are employed by Google, got one.
Yes. They do say it's not obviously 100% smooth, because it is so early, and you just got to talk. But it does, the video does show, and they do give a full walkthrough. It does show the Android App Store, and you just install it like you would on a normal phone. I think there's multi-window support. I can't remember. I think they said there was. But it's getting there, and that's the thing. And the more and more I see it, the more I'm tempted. Yes, it does have multi-window support, but the more I see it, the more I'm tempted by it. Just the thought of having Android apps there, opposed to using the web all the time, is kind of nice. I don't know about you, but I know for me, it's the more I see it, the more interested I become.
Kind of. I mean, the way I see this, it's the gradual evolution of Chrome into Android on machines. To me, is saying Google doesn't really know what they're doing with them.
Yeah.
Because the whole selling point of Chrome was it's all cloud. Nothing is stored on the machine, so you can give these out to all your employees with all the sensitive medical data that they have, and when your idiot employees leave them on a train by mistake, nothing actually has been lost. No data has gone. This breaks that. So it kind of, to me, it seems to be taking the key selling point, key reason to use Chrome as an OS, and throwing it out the window, whilst not being actually quite just stick Android on the damn thing.
Yeah, so getting closer. I don't think there's any word on when it's going to get into the consumer. You're probably looking end of the year, possibly fourth quarter. but it's getting there, and that's what I'm happy about. I wish Don was here. Obviously, he'd
Yeah,
comment.
he's the Chrome boy.
Yeah, he's the Chromebook boy. I get tempted by them, but never get a chance to play with him. He actually owns one and has put his own money down on it. I think he was saying it's cool. I don't think he said he could find a few uses, but yeah, it's not something that's seriously making him go, ooh, ah. So that's that lot Chrome and whatnot. It's not quite Android done, but the Chrome and desktop version stuff done. So I'll go on to let's have a quick talk about it now. So if anybody uses or used the stock Twitter client for a fair while ago, you'll know it's always been a bit meh. Nothing. I didn't get push notifications work properly. It looked boring. It looked plain. For the longest time, there's been developers out there that have been making better Twitter clients. One of the ones that is known is Phoenix, and it's used by, I will use MKBHD again, and quite a few other people. I use it, Craig use it. Dom doesn't use it, I don't think. I know Mark doesn't use it. What do you use, Mark?
Falcon.
Yes, yes, Mark uses Falcon, that's the one. So it's big, and it's pricey, I'll put it that way. It's £4.20. And that's what kept me from buying it for so long, it was £4.20. Like, there are some good and some very good free alternatives and some very cheap alternatives. I know there's Flamingo, which is basically only about £1.30 at the max.
Yeah, did it not go on sale recently?
Yes, that's the bit I was getting to. Phoenix has gone on sale.
Not Phoenix, Flamingo.
Flamingo, possibly.
Sure,
I know it's a player.
I know I bought it the other week. I haven't actually used it yet, but if there's apps that I've randomly bought and I can't really remember why, I'm going to assume it's because it was on sale.
Yes, let's have a quick look. But no, Phoenix. Getting back to the chase, Phoenix has come on sale, and it is currently sitting at £2.59p, which is kind of a bargain when you think about it. £4.20 down to £2.59, a couple of quid off. I didn't pay the full $4.20 for it because I had Google Play rewards credit, and I still do. I have like nearly £8, and I have no idea what to spend it on. More than likely, it'll get spent on 10p apps. It's normally what I use it for. So
yeah, when Google does the apps for 10p, it's like, you know, I mean, it feels almost rude to not buy it at that, whatever it is.
Yes. What was the one I was going to say that I was going to pull out? What is it? DJ2. I was like $2.99 normally. They brought that down to 10p. I brought it. What was it? Flamingo. It helps if I can spell. Yes, Flamingo is 79p at the minute, which I can't understand why people are charging you for a beta.
Oh, I know.
See, they do the same on Xbox, and I know they do something similar on Steam, but on Xbox it's called game previews, and they charge you £20 for a game preview.
Well, if people are prepared to pay it, then you know, I mean, the value. Yeah, I mean, the value of something is what somebody's willing to pay. I mean, and if somebody's willing to pay, well, why not? Plus, don't forget that with the stupid Twitter restrictions, You know, they're limited to the number of tokens they can get. So
yes, I suppose. But it's just flicking back to the Xbox. There was a couple of games, and they're about 15 to £20, or in that range. And one thing it says, it's only a game preview. This may not be the final version. Basically saying that they are more than likely going to make a ton of changes, and it could be nothing really like what you've come to enjoy. Which is why I can't justify buying a game preview, for example. But the other way to look on it, and this is the way people I know have been looking on them, is you're paying £20 for a game that when it comes out, it's possibly going to be about the £40, £35 mark. So it does, when you think about it like that, it's doable. And the same can be said with Flamingo, for example. It could be a really good app, and if it's like Phoenix, they will charge £4 plus for it. And if you were to, let's say, buy it at 79p, use it, and then when it comes out of beta, it hits £2, £3, £4, you've got yourself a bargain. But I thought about it. I think I might have to spend some Google Play money for that. Just check this one off the list. And this is the last one. I couldn't come up with a topic today, and I don't think there was a topic much to talk between two of us, unless Mark has one. But just quickly flicking back, we mentioned that our good friend Dom, who is the official host of the podcast, believe me, I'm not taking over. It just happens he's been busy these 2 weeks, and I've kind of gone, yay, why not? He went to London. If anyone knows that Dom, he lives about an hour train ride. He's on the East Coast. He's about as south. No, he's as south as you can be. So trains aren't all that expensive to get into London. I think he forgot how much expensive a cab was in London when the cabbie demanded £15. But he went to the Honor event, and what was released was the Huawei Honor 5C. Now this phone's going to come in at £150, and it doesn't have a fingerprint scanner, which I can see where they've cut the corners. But just to throw some specs out there.
Well, I mean, the more curious thing is not that it doesn't have a fingerprint scanner, because I don't think that's a big deal. Is that the UK version does not have a fingerprint scanner. The Chinese and Indian versions do. Why the fuck do companies make different versions of the same phone? You know what? Just make them fucking different phones. Like, how difficult is that? Just make it the 5i. And, there's the Indian version gets the fingerprint sensor. And then make the UK version or the European version the 5e. Do something. Give them fucking different names. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Yes, there's one line that I disagree with this, and that's the S. I'm going to call it the S lineup, like after. So, like the S7, for example, you have the S7, the S7 Edge, and the S7 Active. They are 3 phones all under the S7 name, just different variants, but they're clear enough marked different.
Yeah, there's still a different name.
What's
more is when there's the 7 American version and the non-American version, where they'll have exactly the same name, yet they have like completely different internals. Like, seriously, I understand the reason why that happens in that case, why Samsung does that, but seriously, it's like, just give them a different name. Like, really, just use a different name. If you're going to put different hardware out on devices, just give them different fucking names.
Oh, so yeah, it's a 5.2-inch 1080p display, which, I kind of think 1080p is sufficient for a phone.
Easily.
pardon me. It's a 30 megapixel rear camera, 2 gigabytes of RAM, 3,000 milliamp hour battery, which I think is going to be sufficient. Excuse me again. Dual SIM is coming. It's a Kirin, however you want to pronounce it, Kirin 650. What was the other bit I was looking for? Obviously, your standard Wi-Fi VGN. Does have a 3.5 millimeter audio jack, and it uses micro USB, which I was kind of surprised at.
Yeah, no, I think that's fairly reasonable.
I would have thought they would have been pushing the Type C.
Why?
I know it's like the new, it's like the thing at the minute, and I was expecting more companies to adopt
Possibly,
it.
but I think that people that are buying £150 phones don't really know what USB-C is.
True.
So they don't care. It's not a feature they're going to ask for or give a crap whether it has or not.
No, probably not. I know the Vodafone Smart Platinum 7 that has Type C, and that's £300. Which, if you don't know what the Smart 7 is, I did do a piece. It's Vodafone's. It's another phone in the Vodafone 7 lineup, Smart 7, however the hell you want to call it. And it's there to celebrate 10 years of making their own phones, which is basically working with someone like ZTE or Alcatel, or however it's pronounced. What's the other company that does a lot of it? Alcatel, ZTE, there's one more.
Huawei still does a bunch. HTC used to do.
HTC used to do quite a few, actually.
Yeah, I mean, they used to be the kings of, OEMs. If you bought a phone that, had a carrier brand on it rather than,
the manufacturer brand.
If it didn't have Ericsson or Nokia stamped on it, then, odds are it came from HTC.
Yeah, so it's obviously one of them devices again, and I know Vodafone. I know on the Prime and the first 7, they were both through ZTE or ZTE, ZTE. How do you want to announce it? I don't really give a fuck.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't think those letters actually exist in Chinese anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck. Call it what you like. Same with Nokia and Nokia. I don't give a fuck. Everyone knows what you're talking about. You got someone and say, "Oh, I've got a Nokia." Oh, all right. You go to someone in America. Oh, I've got a Nokia. Oh, don't you mean a Nokia?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same fucking thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they've made that to celebrate the 10 years. I will be getting one, and I know Dom was kind of annoyed slightly, obviously because it's £300, has a 2K screen. It's quite specky for something like that, and it was the only phone I quote, "It's the only phone I really care about," and I kind of beat him to it. So we have got one coming in at some point. I have spoken to their PR company, which are probably one of the best PR companies I ever dealt with. I know Mark seems to get in higgledy with them occasionally.
Which one was that?
I know you sometimes get a bit muddled up with Vodafone's PR company.
No. There was just we had a misunderstanding that something was written as one thing, but it turned out it was something else. And it was I'm not sure which is the error that you're saying, like which one was the mistaken one. But that was it. It was not, not a big deal.
So no, we're just waiting on one of them, and I've got that. So that's probably. I'm looking forward to it to see what £300 can buy you on a carrier phone. And more interestingly, I'm going to ask once I get it, will it get end support? Or it's going to be a £300 phone, anyone buys this on pay-as-you-go, they're going to have that phone for some time, obviously, because it's £300.
I don't think this
you
is
can
going to be
take it
selling on pay-as-you-go. This is going to be selling on contract.
It's a bit of both, really.
And I'm telling you now that I'd be really surprised if this gets
N. Yes, I will ask. I will do my inquiries. But it's £300 on pay-as-you-go or £28 a month.
I'll be surprised if anyone there gives you an answer or even really knows what you're talking about.
Yes. One noticeable accessory was they were making a VR headset, similar to the Gear VR, basically. It does look like a slightly modified Gear VR, but I think with a Vodafone logo. I did ask one of those as well, obviously, because this is going to be packing a 2K screen. So so not sure on the VR headset, possibly. But no, that's coming, which kind of moves me swiftly on to the next bit in hand, the upcoming posts. If you've been looking at the site, you'll know for, is it the last week, 2 weeks? We've had a post every day, at least one a day, and that's what we're aiming for. Obviously, we're a bigger team. It's no longer me, Mark, Craig, Dom, and a couple of others that contribute. We are now a bigger team, and we've got Jeffrey, for example, who's been bashing out news virtually every other day. Mark with his arsenal of audio stuff, I think is the best way I can describe it. Yeah. And then whatever everyone's been picking up, I know Kurt's got working on some Lumia reviews. I'll put it in one. I'll say this: he's kind of unimpressed, and his words were, "I never want to review a Windows Phone device again."
Yeah, which is a shame. To be honest,
Mark, secretly fall in love with Windows Phone.
No, well, I do have a Windows Phone that I kind of use every so often, and the Lumia 735, and I really think the hardware on it is fantastic. I think if that phone had come with Android on it, it would have just kicked the shit out of the Moto G. It absolutely would have. I mean, it would have sold like gangbusters. But it had Windows Phone 8 on it, and so it didn't. But Windows Phone 8 was actually nice if you used it. A lot more limited than Android, but still, it was nice. Windows Phone 10 feels not finished.
I think that was what Microsoft was going for, to be honest. That's virtually what everybody said.
Yeah, I mean, Windows Phone 10 is just... It's just... No, it's...
The half-baked potato, basically.
It does nothing better, and it seems to have sort of slight stability issues. And the one thing that they really changed that totally killed me was they used to have a really nice little anime for people. Right.
And let me guess, they took it away from you.
I don't know if you can see that one of those tiles has people in little circles.
If I'm not mistaken, it used to cycle through your contact photos for them.
Yeah, and it still does that, but it used to all be like little squares, or slightly bigger squares. But the point being, the square actually put the whole picture in there, so you could see the whole thing. Now it skews them, so the ones around the edges are all cut in half. So the only image you can actually see in its entirety is the single one in the middle.
So they butchered that.
Yeah, and it's just like, what the fuck? Why did you do that?
It's like the one design of Windows Phone that people actually liked.
Yeah, and I know it's a tiny little thing. It's really not a bit important. But it just seems like they've changed things for the sake of changing them. And everything that I've noticed that they've changed, they made it worse.
Yeah. So, upcoming reviews. So, we've got obviously a few coming up. We've got enough to lead us into next week. And I'm sure Mark will be adding to the collection. to
Yeah, I
keep us
think
going
we've
that
got
little bit longer.
Yeah, I think we've got stuff queued up till the 27th.
Yes, I think it is. So they are the Boosty, which I have not got a clue what this is.
Oh, that was the you can use mobile data to boost your land connection.
Ah, yes, that was yes. So Craig, I know Craig got this. Now that I know, yeah, this was a thing that was showing off at Gadget Show that Craig was quite interested in. The IEC technology 5,200 milliamp hour power bank. I know Craig's got this, but the bit that kind of gets me a bit baffled with IEC is they're called IEC on the website, but all their products are stamped EC, which is a bit odd. But
I don't know. There are lots of weird things from companies that come out of China. They don't seem to be entirely confident as to what the name of their companies are.
Yeah, and then we've got the Bon Audio PHN200. Now, I know for a damn well fact this is marking that's got these.
Yeah, those are things that I think prodded out last week, the black headphones that have the buttons on either side. But I would grab them if I could remember where I... Oh, no, I hung them away up, so no.
Yeah, so I know that. I saw that. I was like, yeah, that's my thing. Something unusual for the site, and you thought my bike light was unusual. It's the Gigabyte XM300 gaming mouse. I was a bit baffled at first when I saw this, but no, this is courtesy of... I don't know if he wants to be called Jeffrey or Jeff. I'll have to ask him. But it's includes in the name of gaming mouse. Something different for the site. I think we're trending that way now in different. What do we have? My bike light, a gaming mouse. What's next? I did get asked to review some premium wine stoppers.
Yeah, which I think should have gone because he doesn't like wine. I mean, really.
It was kind of. I read it, premium wine stuff, and I was like, oh god, what the hell is this? Now I will admit this: they weren't asking for a review on the website. It was an Amazon review. So that's from the same company that sent me the bike light. And the Zorlo Aeros, and if I'm not mistaken, these are a slightly modified version.
Yeah, well, the original version that I reviewed many weeks back. That was the proposed revision for their project that was on Indiegogo. They have taken the feedback from that and decided that the sound, that's not what they were aiming for. So they have now changed the sound of those quite dramatically, actually. And so their current version is the sort of new proposed version. And so that's what my review is of now. So, and again, this is currently sort of the second revision. So it's possible that
there'll be many more to come.
This might not be the final version, but I think this could be. I think this will be the final version. But yeah, it's very different from the original.
Yes. So
So if you're on Indiegogo and you're buying, this is probably the ones that you're gonna get.
No doubt they'll end up on GearBeast as well. Because I notice a lot of your stuff seems to come through GearBeast.
Yeah, there's been a sort of a bunch of stuff. They do kind of sell a lot of things.
Even Mark's one of iPhone, the K10,000, which recently came down in price, and I know Mark was looking at it. He was like, "It's £106."
I don't love the specs of everything on it, but that battery is just like.
Mark's like, that battery. I'm kind of easy for it, but I've just not got the money. But I'm going to keep an eye on it.
Yeah. Plus, I have too many phones. I need to if I could bring myself to just get rid of some of them. But...
Go down to 6.
Yeah.
WeBuy.com.
Yeah, I'm not good at parting with all the phones, but yeah, I probably do need to get rid of at least 2 or 3.
I don't want to ask your current arsenal of phones because we'll be here for many hours. But no, so that is, I think that's it. Just over an hour.
There is also the last review that's currently in posted to the site but hasn't gone live yet, which is for the Juno DN 2000Js.
Oh, didn't they go live earlier on?
No.
I think they went live earlier on.
Did they?
I think so.
Did I?
Why I don't see them on this list.
No, because on the dashboard they're sitting there for June 27th. It's supposed to go.
Let me have a look. Are you using the official WordPress one or the other widget that Craig installed?
No. The scheduled posts.
Let's have a look.
So I only added that this evening. So that's
you've done that after I put everything down.
Yeah, so that's those. If you can see, unfortunately,
wooden tips.
Sorry.
What do they look like? Wooden tips from through the bag, or am I just?
No. They're just complies. But yeah,
yes.
So I didn't get the retail box and things for those, but still, if anyone's familiar with Juno, they'll know what those are, and they've been out for a while. But Juno only just recently sent me those with the 2002s that are on my desk.
One of the things that are on your desk, because Mark has many things on his desk.
I'm so bad for clutter. But those should be coming in the next few weeks, and they are really good.
Is Mark's quick summary, not to spoil the review?
Yes, they're really, really, really good. Like, they are really good. It's like they're 20 or 30 quid more than the 2000Js. Like, I would take these any day.
Any day
above them. Yeah.
So we might as well go through the outro. Let's see if I can do this one without stuttering. So, of course, you can find us around the web on the website, which is at www.mobiletechtalk.co.uk. Obviously, you can find us on Twitter at MTTFeed, and it's not going to show, which I have. If I can get this stupid window to pop open. Been advertising all day at college. Some advertisements there. Instagram, Mobile Tech Talk, since that one's free. Facebook, Mobile Tech Talk UK, though we don't really use it that much if we're honest. But if you don't like going on Twitter, just like it and all the reviews will drop in your timeline.
Yeah, I don't think any of us are huge Facebook people. But
no, I know Messenger recently had the SMS support, which I am using only to try and get me to use some more group chats that I'm in. I'm in about 3. I very rarely respond to them. But no, that's there. YouTube and Google Plus, just search for Mobile Tech Talk.
Just Google things. Just
Google things. Everything's there that you need.
Yeah, I mean, like, who the fuck ever types out like bloody URLs? I mean, nobody. You don't. I mean, even obvious ones that you know. You still just type it into Google and hit enter.
Yeah, but no, and then obviously Patreon. Now where if you give us some money, we'll make some better shit for you. We are. I know our Patreon page has been a bit blank at the while, but obviously with the merger and shit, everything's just being.
That's probably a fairly good description. Yes, with the merger and all the sort of.
If
anyone has any experience in the corporate world, whenever mergers take place, there is always fallout. Right, there is always. Nothing goes smoothly. There is always unforeseen.
Obviously, the way we were structuring it is we were recording 30 seconds clips, just quitting about ourselves, smashing it all in, and putting that up. Obviously, we had new people join, so they've got to record 30-second clips, and then they've got to be edited in. So it's none of us get paid, so we all do it in a spare time. So we're getting there, but just just hold out on us. If you want to make a donation through PayPal, I know that was set up on the site, if that's a bit easier for you. But according to my sheet, I've done everything I set out to do.
Yeah.
So I've been Chris, that's been Mark, and that has been episode 28 of Talking Tech. We will be back next week. Who with? I don't know. That's the mystery. We never know who's going to be here.
Yeah. No.
We like it that way. I think that's kind of better, not knowing what's coming. But no, that's it. And I think we've rambled on for about an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Which, considering that was a very short sheet, try saying that 5 times quicker, is pretty good. But no, we're going to sign out, and we'll see you again 7 o'clock next week. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
End room.